Hello. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the second day of the Cities Mission Conference 2025. I feel like the energy of the drink reception yesterday is just continuing here, which is good. But also, I invite you to slowly find your seats. Otherwise, I will have to come down and just join your conversations. We'll see about that. I'm glad that you're all here. It's not a given. I mean, it's second day in the morning. Just a brief check here. Who of you would say you are a morning person? Okay, the other one, like who are the night owls? Full appreciation for being here. Thank you. And let's just quickly check. I hope you had a good evening yesterday. Who of you had some drinks at the drink reception? Who of you had drinks after the drinks somewhere in Vilnius? Okay. Who of you wishes you had less drinks? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. It's like, I hope you're going to recover soon. Maybe the other way, like who already had one coffee today in the morning? Yeah, quite a lot of you. It's needed. 2 coffees. Okay. 3 coffees. All right, I'm not going to ask more, guys. This is getting unhealthy. It's not even midday. Okay. Anyone who's already had a bit of a morning routine, any kind of morning sports? Wow, I'm impressed. Like, yeah. It's like you always go to these hotels and then they always tell you at the reception, it's like, yeah, and there's the gym in the 8th floor. And you're like, yeah, good to know. Might not go there. Which is why it's so great that we're here together and we can do a bit of an energizer, right? Yeah, because you like that. Okay, let's try to do that. I invite you to just get up. Oh, you're doing it. Good. And then, I mean, let's be honest, the way how we are, like, maybe a bit of light also, not only on me, but also for the audience. The way how we probably feel right now is a bit more like this. So we can stand a bit like this, and maybe we can give ourselves a good hug and just, for a moment, feel like we're back in bed and close our eyes and just, one more moment on the cushion and the blanket and just cuddle up for ourselves. And then we can slowly start to wake up our body. And we have an announcement that helps us to do so. Okay. So we can slowly wake up our face. I would say we start with wobbling our ears. Who can do that? Can you wobble your ears? You can try it. And then you wobble your eyebrows. You just move your eyebrows, and then you move your mouth, your face. And it's really fun because you're all looking at me probably with your eyes open, and I'm the only one with my eyes closed. So have fun, enjoy this. And then you can roll your head a bit, and you open your eyes. And then you start slowly waking up your feet by wobbling your toes. No one can see this. You can do this in a very subtle way. So you can wobble your toes and then you start maybe shaking your legs a bit, shaking your knees, just softly. And then you do it a bit more. And maybe you take one foot and you just shake that leg a bit. And you shake the other leg and you try not to lose the balance, which I don't know how many drinks you had yesterday, so you have to estimate if you can do that. And then you can also start to move your arms, and you can unfold your arms and stretch exactly. And you have no neighbors, you can do this. And if you have no neighbors in front, you can do this, or you can do that, or otherwise you maybe do this. So you start stretching a bit, and then you start standing on your toes. And you can stretch to the front, and you really try to stretch as hard as you can and really try to stretch your whole body. And then we're gonna, in just a few seconds, let loose of all the stretching. And we're gonna go down and we're gonna say good morning whilst we do that, okay? So 3, 2, 1, good morning. Oh, that was really not that energizing. We're gonna do it again. Okay.
Okay, we reach up to the sky, we reach very high, we reach and we really stretch ourselves, and then we go down in just 3, 2, 1. Good morning. All right, we do it one more time because it's so much fun. So we do it one more time. We stretch up, and we go as high as we can, and we go 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Thank you so much. Good morning. Have a seat. It's more morning sports than I've done for a long time. I welcome you to our second day, where it's all about advancing innovation. Today we're going to move our view into the future, and we're going to talk about innovation and future-oriented strategies. We're going to explore cutting-edge approaches to collaboration and funding, things that we already touched on yesterday, innovative models at all levels of governance, and smart technologies that all enable us to really deal with the most tackling challenges in our cities. And one of the highlights will be the mission label ceremony, where a large batch of the cities will actually be awarded with the mission label. And I see that a lot of you have already taken your seats in the first 2 rows, because this is where those mission cities do receive a very special gift. So in case you're one of those cities and you're still in the back, make your way to the front, because here is something that's awaiting you. And also on a note that I just wanted to mention, you already saw yesterday in some of our sessions that we had those beautiful graphics that started developing throughout the conversations. So I just wanted to point out to our beautiful visual harvester, Carlotta Cat, who today again is going to take those recordings to make sure that we also have a visual reminder of what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow. So if you want to check out her visual drawings and her graphics, you can find her at Carlotta Cat. And with this, I would say, let's start into our first session, where we really want to give visibility to the strengths and challenges of the region that we're finding ourselves in, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, the Baltic region. And we want to touch on subjects like energy security, independence, innovation, smart solutions, and shared governance. And in order to guide us through this very special session, please welcome on stage the Regional Director at ICLE Europe. Please welcome Holger Robrecht.
Thank you so much, Katharina, for preparing the crowd for what is to come. Thank you so much. My guests, please come on stage. We don't have too much time to lose, and there is a crowd that waits for us. So also from my side, welcome, while they take their seats, please. Welcome to the second day of the Cities Mission Conference 2025 here in Vilnius. Yesterday, we started off by cities experiences, and Thomas Ostoba, the coordinator of the Net Zero Cities Consortium, referred to the cities on stage as, it could have been any of you. Well, definitely this is different today. Definitely different, very specific. So we will have the Baltic view, a regional perspective, as an offer to Europe. This session is not a nice treat to our host region. Not. It is an offer to the European regions to learn from their experiences and from their strong examples that they have. This is, of course, especially also for those that are cross-border regions, but all other regions will gain from it. So the learning potential is in the region's experience in radical energy transition that they have undergone in the last decade. This is by using an innovation ecosystem and a strong approach, even an attitude to collaboration. This arguably establishes 3 of the essentials that all regions and all cities need in their transition to climate neutrality, with the ambition to land in 2030. Very important. So what is special about the Baltic view? Number 1, within only 1 decade, they have transitioned in energy first in gas. In 2022, they disconnected from Russian gas within only 8 years or so. In February this year, they completely got integrated with the EU electricity grid, and they have an ambition by 2030 to be strong in renewables. I think in Lithuania and in Estonia, even 100%. So we want to understand the impact that this transition has on the cities, but also the role that the cities played in this transition as a learning, of course, for the emission cities. Number two, in line with the tremendous task on energy transition, innovation became an essential resource even for the development. So this turned into a culture, into an attitude. Business as usual, we all know that, will not work out. So we need to go innovative. And we want to understand how they have mobilized innovation as a resource for their transition. But of course, we also want to discuss how this innovation can turn into standard approach in order to make it a mainstream. We want to know how they use it also for economic development purposes and opportunities, so beyond the mission. Number three, collaboration is essential and fundamental in the Baltic Sea region because of their geographical setting, but also with the Baltic Sea in between. They have actually a long tradition in horizontal, citywide, regionally, but also vertical collaboration, and we want to dig into that potential. The cities have been drivers. We know that in the region there is a multitude of CEAPs, CCAPs, SAMs, and now CCCs, acronyms that you all know. If not, ask those, because they will know after this session. So, and they have actually formats of collaboration here in the Baltic Sea region with the Council of the Baltic Sea States, with Baltic 21, with the Union of the Baltic Cities. I don't know if there are colleagues here in the room. Hello to those from the Union of Baltic Cities. So there is a long tradition of collaboration. We want to understand how the framework conditions for collaboration can be mobilized also for the climate neutral city journey. So, in fact, to help our understanding, we have a wonderful panel. Before introducing them, I remind that we only have up to 10 o'clock, so then we need to clear the stage. That does only mean that interaction will happen here. If you want to talk to them, do it in the coffee break after. I will not give you the floor. This is what is the sort of practical announcement. Now I would like to present you the speakers. We have 4 Baltic cities, we have 3 capital cities, we have 3 mission cities, we have the political perspective, we have scientific and technical expertise, entrepreneurial expertise. We have 3 male and 2 female speakers. It seems like a panel of 20 people. In fact, we have managed to squeeze that into 5 strong persons here on stage. One by one, we start by Lina Bride. Lina is the Vice Rector for Innovation of the Riga Technical University, a strong proponent for innovation. Under her leadership, Riga University established the Science and Innovation Center as a hub for capacity building. She is an advocate for integrating innovation into sustainable development strategies. We have Kalis Baimanis, the project manager for climate change and energy efficiency in the city of Liepāja in Latvia. And he's also the city's mission coordinator in the city, an innovation and sustainability expert, and his emphasis is on integrating circular economy into urban planning and development towards resilient and sustainable communities. We have another person from Latvia, and actually Lithuania is so generous that they offer space for their colleagues from the other country. So we have Vistos Zeps, a member of Riga City Council and chair of the council's Housing and Environment Committee. He managed the European, he's a master in European Studies and Business Administration, and he managed the Latvian Hub for InnoEnergy. So, as a co-founder of the R&D Lab, a consultancy focused on research and prototyping, he's a champion on enhanced energy performance, expanded affordable housing and circular economy, and he's been in Valencia last year. You will still remember him for some of his saying, including that he wants to use money saved from energy reduction or consumption reduction for municipal purposes. We will dig into that one. We have Margot Rose, Deputy Mayor for Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Circularity in the city of Tallinn, a Master in Business Administration with a certificate in climate change as well. She held positions in different moments, but in Environmental Investment Center as well, and is a mastermind of Test in Tallinn, a groundbreaking hub for innovation. I should say that is now expanded to other cities. She facilitates sustainable economic cooperation and advises on climate mitigation and energy projects. And we have our host, Andrius Gregonis, the Deputy Mayor of this city of Vilnius. Thank you for hosting us, very much so, with a master degree in law and experiences in, of course, legal works. But for us, it is interesting that his focus is also on EU funds, public procurement, state aid, fintech, real estate, so topics that are very much in the center of our discussion. And to him, my first question goes, which is, Andrius, how would you rate your city's energy resilience today? It's an easy question, I think.
Well, good morning, everybody. I would like to, first of all, welcome you here in Vilnius. It's so good to have you here, guys. And unfortunately, sorry for the weather, unfortunately, it is not part of a city's municipality function. Otherwise, it will be much warmer, I can assure you. But getting back to your question, what we are doing here in Vilnius is trying to kill two birds with one stone. On the one hand, we are trying to understand the need to be energy resilient and independent. However, we are trying also to proceed our huge effort to be climate neutral by 2030. Somehow these two values could seem a bit contradict to each other, but it is not necessarily the case. We are determined to do this, to do that and to reach this, since Vilnius is the biggest city in Lithuania, biggest city in the Baltic states, and finally we are the European Green Capital of 2025. So we remain to be green despite the fact that we have turbulent times. And the key example of this, I would say, our modernization of our heating system, central heating system. By 2026, we are planning to switch and to transit to 80% of energy that we are using for heating our houses will be made from alternative sources of energy. And by 2030, we will refuse natural gas as a source at all, and all the energy will be clean and green. So, however, we are living in a difficult geopolitical situation, and we will keep the option to have alternatives in case of emergencies. So we are not destroying our infrastructure related to natural gas, but in case we need them, we can start them again, but we will not use it in normal conditions and in casual life. What else could we are doing here? So we are trying to better exploit solar energy, and here we also have some things which worth to be mentioned. So first of all, we are installing solar power plants on our public institutions' roofs, and also we are buying solar energy from remote solar plants to our schools, kindergartens, hospitals. So it's more than 100 institutions are participating in it. And of course, we are doing much more than that, but I don't want to steal time from my colleagues, so I must stop here. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Please. For doing my job to hand over to your colleagues. So, Margot, please come into the picture.
So the same question?
Same.
Yes. Good morning from me also. I'm very happy to be here. Vilnius is definitely one of my favorite cities in Europe So I hope it's the same experience for you. Talking about energy in Estonia and energy production, we are not doing as great as I would like to, because there has been a lot of talk, there has been a lot of planning and discussions, and we have ambitious goals, but till date we rely heavily on interconnections to Finland, to Latvia, and that is definitely not a very healthy situation in case of emergencies or problems. And we've had several incidents of our interconnection being damaged in the Finnish Gulf. So that is something that makes me worried. And in Tallinn, of course, and in Estonia in general, we still have the shale oil production, which we almost don't use, but it's a backup option still available. We keep it in readiness in case of emergencies. And of course, we do have solar energy, we have wind energy capacities being developed. But one of our main strengths could be offshore wind. There are very good conditions, shallow waters, but we still have zero capacity ready. A lot of plans and no actual energy coming from there. So this part is worrying, but I hope we get some decisions very soon now, and this can be better. As a city, we are doing a lot. As Vilnius, we also have the bio-waste and also, biomass and municipal waste incineration that gives us heat. And we are investing heavily into central heating and cooling systems. We have created a joint company with a private sector player, Utilitas. So with the city and the private sector, it's been 450 million invested by now, and more in the coming years. And I emphasize also the cooling, because in the past periods we never even thought about it, but now it's becoming a necessity also in our region, which, well, tells you a lot about what's happening with the climate in general. So all in all, we are okay at the moment. We'll discuss innovation a bit more later, I'm sure, because I think this is where our strength lies and where we put most of our efforts in. Thank you for now.
And it will be the focus of our discussion, actually, but I want to have a scene-setting round first. But there is two aspects, Margot, that I want to get back to. The first one, you remind of a very important element, that is the integration of mitigation and adaptation aspects, because projects are integrated. I think that is an important reminder. But the second, and I want to ask you for confirmation, do I understand right that energy resilience is an important aspect for the city of Tallinn? And my question to you is then, how much will you do it at city level, or how much will this be like a country perspective?
Well, I think small countries like the Baltics, it's very interlinked, and we are heavily influenced by the government's decisions, because how much energy can one city produce? I mean, only so much, I guess. And we do our part. Like I mentioned, there is a very nice circle we have created with our bio-waste that goes to the gasification plant, and our public transport runs on our own bio-waste. So these, we try to do those very concrete cycles. So this part is, well, depending on how much bio-waste we create, basically. So we do those small efforts. We're also now looking into hydrogen-based generators, again, an innovation from an Estonian company. So we have a lot of these plans, and also, of course, using roofs for solar energy in the city. But all in all, we still need those bigger production capacities to come in. from outside.
Thanks. Thank you very much for that. Andreas, you will serve yourself, no? If you want water, because my arm is not long enough. Lina, likewise. I can serve Visus, but not the two of you. Visus, while they serve themselves, Margaret was hinting also at this interconnection also with Latvia, Estonia, but also to you the question, how is a degree in energy resilience in Riga? What are your key challenges and projects in short?
Yeah, good morning everyone. Thank you for inviting us. I'm also happy to be in Vilnius. This is my second best city in Europe. Riga is my first city in Europe. Yeah, but indeed, actually, all the geopolitical activities, as well as the recent disconnection from BREL and so on, it helps us to diversify, let's say, the energy sources, meaning that we are going away from the fossil fuels. Yeah? Traditionally, Latvia is operating several hydroelectric stations on the river. Yeah? So the electricity is relatively green, but still there are few items that is necessary from the fossil. But the disconnection helped us actually to start work with solar power plants. It helped us to start also to work with wind turbines and so on. Yeah? So I would say that all these geopolitical things helps in Latvia and in Riga to move faster towards this climate neutrality and all green issues. If you talk about Riga in particular, of course Riga is relatively connected, like all other Baltic capitals, to the country policy, meaning that the overall energy policy is set at a government level, and we as a major player are, let's say, advising, taking our actions in that sense. Yeah? And for public sector, where we are operators, we try to encourage all organizations to save energy, to use alternative energy, to put on the solar panels on the buildings, and so on and so on. We have even introduced the so-called climate fund, which is internal fund in Riga, meaning that all saved megawatts or kilowatts are returned back to the organizations that have saved them into different forms. Yeah, so if you save energy by changing your lights, by changing your heating system and whatsoever, yeah, so you have the same investment from the energy that you have saved. Then from the perspective of inhabitants, from the perspective of inhabitants, of course, we try to regulate. We try to regulate with the local rules that hey, priority is given to, for example, central heating, alternative energy, no fossil fuels. Yeah? So that's how we try to clean also all the area. Yeah? But just to sum up, that yeah, this let's say this all green and climate neutral and alternative energy actually helps us to ensure the energy independence, and that's why it's also easier to persuade people that this is good for economics, this is good for our kind of independency, and so on and so on. And that's how we try to frame it in Riga. And that is also bringing us back to what you said in Valencia, that you use the money saved from energy. Yeah, the money that, for example, school has saved from the energy, they receive back as investment into other, I don't know, facilities and so on. Yeah? So we try to circulate that savings and try to create a motivation as precise as possible at the level of schools, of course, just to make them incentivize, I would say, just to incentivize them to save energy. Otherwise, it's like, energy, so how many megawatts I'm spending this year? It doesn't care because the government, local municipality will pay. No, we try to turn it around. If you save, then you receive additional fund, yeah. And we managed actually Of course, there were different prices on energy a few years ago, yeah, but we managed to calculate that we have saved in this sense at the first year when we started roughly 10 million euros. Yeah, and 10 million euros is, of course, very cool initial investment into particular places. Yeah, they can change rooftops with solar panels. Yeah, they can change the heating systems and so on and so on. Yeah, so this is a great incentive, and we are starting it. It's already running for second and third year. Yeah, third year. Yeah, and we have let's say results. Not yet very good, but results. Yeah, so we are moving.
And we will check you out next year in the Cities Mission Conference 26 again. We will just follow you.
All right, yeah. I'll be here. I don't know, we have elections in 1 month, so I'm a politician, I don't know, but I'll be here, you know.
Kalis, Liepaja, you heard what the colleagues from the other cities said. You have a little bit of different perspective, but you know, I think, the energy situation in Liepaja inside out. So what is the situation in your city?
Yes, Liepaja is not so big city as Vilnius and Tallinn and Riga, but still we are the third biggest in Latvia, and we are the first city in Baltic states which received a mission label already last year, and we see that doing our homework this pays off, and we were ready to this energy crisis before some years, and it started like 20 years ago, in 2016 we were one of the first municipalities in Latvia which implemented the energy management system. So we started to understand where are the energy consumption, where it comes from, and then the sources of that. So we already done our homework till now, and it's in many sectors. One of these is like where we get the biggest reduction of CO2 levels. It's from district heating. So in Liepaja, more than 90% of district heating comes from biomass. And so, as Riga said, our target also is to reach the 100% by 2030. And other sector is housing renovation. So we are one of the leaders in Latvia in housing renovation, and this is also that we prepare the citizens for the energy price increase. So in this scenario, in the changing of prices in the heating and the natural gas, it was good that 1/3 of our multi-apartment houses are already renovated, and they can regulate the heating in their apartments. The third one is like how we dealing with electricity in our municipality is that we are the first ones in Latvia to in municipalities to implement the ESCO principle in indoor lighting. So we have changed in all our schools, kindergartens, municipality institutions, the indoor lighting. So we are not so independent on the price changes, and we got like new comfortable lighting and the service for next 7 years. So this is good principle that other cities can also learn from us. And in the context of the biggest challenges, I think the two main things is private transport in the energy, if we are seeing the total CO2 emissions, and the second one is natural gas still in the industry. So we are cooperating really strongly with the industry, with Liepaja Special Economic Zone. So the companies that are operating in the city will also implement the sustainable these monitoring reports and to follow the guidelines that we are as a city, that our targets align with the companies that are operating in the city.
Thank you very much. I think that is a very important perspectives also that you open here beyond the municipal buildings, housing. You open also the perspective on mobility, which is an important aspect also in the energy transition for sure. And I think that is also very much what we see in other climate city contracts, that there is a focus on mobility because it's one of the biggest challenges of cities to tackle. You know? So thank you very much, Kalis, for coming in here. Lina, your perspective again is a bit different. You hear what the cities say, but of course with your scientific background and also entrepreneurial background, I have two questions actually for you with the request to bridge us into the innovation discussion. So, a challenge to you. If you hear all that, do you think that the Baltic Sea region, by and large, is on a good pathway to energy transition and unpacking, unfolding, unlocking the potential that is in the cities also to make that happen? And what is the role in collaboration in that game?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Also, I'm happy to be here. Good question. So I'm just listening all those nice stories, and I would compliment the Thailand story because they were honest that not everything goes perfect. And if we look at this initiative, I remember also my experience first time with the AIT Climate Kick that we talked about it, and it was in 2016, so already almost 10 years ago. And the climate change was a really hot topic then, right? So everyone talks about it, a lot of talking that already mentioned, but not so many actions. And then I'm thinking about what drives innovations, all this transition, and what's the role of the cities or the governments. And let's be honest, if we think about the climate change, the governance or the city governance or the country governance is crucial. They are drivers of this change. Oh, the bird. It was like they agreed with me.
That is a bridge to biodiversity that we have also in the room.
It's part of the event, you know.
That was like a part of the show. So yeah, basically, extremely important to understand what drives these changes and who is responsible about it, and that everyone here understand that it will take a long, long time. It's not one day question. Also, this energy transition, if we will ask ourselves like a Baltics, if it will happen if geopolitical situation wasn't be like it's now, will it drive the changes and this kind of dynamics where we are? And I believe the answer would be no. So all this context drive us or push us to do a little bit differently. And question, if we have learned from this, that we can from this point plan the things in the long term, not because the situation forces us, because we see this is our development path. This is one thing. Second thing, I believe answer would be yes, we are on the right way, but it's long, long, long way. And as Viestor said, he don't know if he will be here after the month. I believe every of us could say so. So we don't know what will happen. And questioning how we can ensure the sustainability in those decisions that has been made by the research institutions, by the governance of the city, or the government itself. So that we have agreed that we will do something based on the strategy, if it's energy transition or other really important transition processes, that we will stick to that. So that those people will change, but the plan stays. With resources that we need to change that in all levels, in the research, in the governance, in the entrepreneurship or the industry side, that we will stick to the plan, or we are ready to change the plan based on, again, some context that has been happened. But that, I believe, is the biggest challenge. And the last thing that I want to say, so also about the path or the way that the Baltics are planning to do, let's be honest that energy transition is really investment intensive process. The mention was 250 million and they just started. So we are not able to diverse our energy plan in many sectors. It's impossible, or many technologies, because we will not be able to implement it, to keep it, to consume it, and develop it. So basically, and the question is, are we ready to take the decisions? Or it will be wind parks, or it will be hydrogen, or it will be some other resources. Sure, it can't be one, but we need to understand that we need to at least agree on Baltic states level that it will be one plan. So some of the directions we will invest together. So then it could, help us to stick to the plan in the long run.
Thank you. I saw much nodding here going on with all the colleagues, but you addressed one thing, that is, we have politicians, we have a city person, and you come from a scientific and entrepreneurial background, and you said this is volatile because it's matter to change if positions change, and people that decide currently on that pathway will not be there in the next moment. How much is that a risk, or how much do you think, also knowing that we have this Climate City contract as sort of a policy innovation instrument that is geared to long-term trajectory development? So how much do you think this is a risk also for the energy transition?
100%. Okay, I don't know if somebody yesterday mentioned that, but I need to say it's morning. Trump. Hey, he make one decision, it has changed everything. So one person with huge power in this moment, he make the decision, and it's changed a lot about how the whole country now act to the one another question. So, okay, in Europe, it's a little bit different, so it's more diverse, so there's many countries, again, then the question is about how we make decisions. But again, the power goes together with decisions, and then resources, it's a risk. So if the person change or persons change, and they come with another opinion about another view, so it also can change the kind of strategy. In question, if it's possible to make the strategy ongoing without this kind of force or I don't know, human impact, let's say, or some individual impact to that. It's a question, I'm not a politician, I don't know. But it would be good if answer would be yes. So that it's more in expert level decision, not on this kind of political level, I would say like that.
Thank you. And we have an eagerness with the politician, Margot.
Just wanted to add something. Well, you're right, politicians influence a lot, and well, politicians do what the voters want, more or less. In some countries more, in some less, maybe. But I am quite worried about what people want nowadays, because you see it in the whole Europe, but especially in the Baltics or in the Eastern European area, that energy independence is definitely important, defense, all of that, but the sustainability part has taken a bit of a backseat when I talk to people, when we look at the polls or opinions, and those signals are very worrying, and I don't know what the right answer is, because of course we are investing heavily into defense, and that should be should be that way. But should we give up the green goals, or how much should we compromise? That's the question.
Thank you. I stay a moment with you because I want to turn this also in something positive. No, we have politicians that are here, that are committed, and that actually use their force for innovation. And you are the mastermind of Test in Tallinn. So perhaps you can give us an idea what this is, why you did it, and then I hand over to Vistus. Yeah?
Yes, so cities and countries have similar challenges, and Tallinn was once green capital of Europe, like Vilnius is today. So back then we had a lot of startups started calling us and saying, oh, we have this great innovation for you, would you like to test it? And then we took a few projects, and then thought, okay, maybe this is something to do in a more structured way. And we created Test in Tallinn, which basically means that companies from Estonia, but from everywhere, can come, and we give them up to 12 months to use our infrastructure, our people, our systems, and test out new innovations. And it's not only energy, it's also mobility, health, social care, entertainment industry, sports, whatever innovation it is that's benefiting the city and its people. And so far we've had over 30 projects from 18 countries, from as far as New Zealand even. So, and now some cities have asked, okay, we would like to use the same model, and we have just signed a cooperation agreement with Heidelberg in Germany, and next one's waiting with Valencia and Seoul from South Korea. So very much inviting everyone to come and talk to me about it, because I think cities should work together more, and if we can do testing at the same time in multiple cities, it just saves time. We can share our experiences, compare them, because cities are also a bit different. So, and we are working with a private company who is creating a platform called Test in City. So cities can start sharing the innovation projects on that platform, and hopefully this makes it easier to manage. But coming to the energy projects, we also have something called the digital twin. Of course, most cities do, and energy systems are also part of that. So we play with that a lot as a city manager level. And I think that's a very good longer discussion probably with other cities, what they do. Thanks.
Absolutely, and I think this whole digital twin element will be in other sessions as well taken forward, but thank you so much. Actually, I noted that all the cities that you mentioned that took it up are all ICLE member cities. Promotion.
Yes, I know.
But there is 112 cities in the cities mission that definitely will look at it. Visos.
Yeah, two things I would like to mention. First, to recap a little bit on the earlier. Yes, of course, politicians are doing what the people want usually, but I hope the politicians are also leading the people, meaning that telling what actions are taken and why. We try to rationalize as much as possible these energy savings, these green and climate neutral stuffs. We try to rationalize and describe, for example, hey, do you want to save energy? It's cheaper. Oh, yes. All right, let's go. So I think that the political changes probably will move a little bit the terms of the ambition, but still the trajectory will be the same. Then when we jump into innovation, I would like to earmark one concept that we are testing in Riga currently. Yeah? We have also the so-called pilot places, where we are testing different sensors and different stuff without like very bureaucratic harmonization. Because when you mention innovation, and when I talk to my colleagues at the departments, then they are saying, what? Innovation? Are you crazy? So what kind of procurement procedure you can do there? You know, it's impossible. Then we will have supervisors and so on controls and so on, and it's complicated. Yeah. So what we have decided that to foster the innovation and to foster this knowledge transfer from the science to the industry, we have so-called public facility companies that belongs to Riga city. Yeah? For example, public heating, public water, waste management company, and so on. Yeah? So, and we are, let's say, a little bit pushing them towards implementing innovation through their midterm and long-term aims. Yeah, so we use this stick from one perspective. They are, let's say, obliged to work with Latvian and all other technologies in the particular field. And we call this concept municipality as a first customer, where actually municipality is not so much paying for this technology. They are using the resources of engineers, of infrastructure, and so on and so on. Yeah? And we have currently tested, of course, relatively small technologies, meaning some type of sensors in a waste management company, some type of hydrogen methods also in waste management company, and some type of different sensors in water treatment company. And there were successful projects and also unsuccessful projects. Yeah, for example, they were presenting to us and said, yeah, this was a bad project because we ran through the procurement procedure, and then the startup simply, the main guy in the startup went sick, and so we didn't manage to put up sensors. You know, this is bad from the company perspective, but it's relatively okay from the learning perspective, how to avoid or what to do for the next procedures. Yeah, so this is one thing I wanted to mention regarding what we are trying to do in Riga, to use the resources that we have, not just financial resources, but also intellectual and facility resources to foster this technology. But the funding for them should come from the private investors. And this is the obligatory stuff. Yeah, funding should come from private investors for them, and we are helping with infrastructure, resources, and so on.
So that is very important. We hear the cities can be driver, setting frameworks for innovation to happen. Regulatory sandboxes is a buzzword that is now very much on, but this is what you do in Tallinn, but also like a market contributor in terms of being the first customer, which is a very important perspective also to bring innovation forward to mainstream. I suppose, Andrius, that there is similar features or Kalis also in Vilnius, in Liepāja. So perhaps you bring that in. We have a few minutes. Carlotta, if you hear me now, you fill, please, the third box from that collaboration that we are talking about. And definitely you will make sense of our wording. We will not come to that box, but...
Thank you very much. So I cannot agree more with the colleagues, given the fact that if we are talking about climate neutrality, it's a long-run procedure. So politicians' missions here is to set the general principles and to move step by step forward. And after we're changing the habits of the citizens, it's really difficult to get back. For example, 20 or more years ago in Lithuania, it was allowed to smoke inside the house. And at that time, it was very normal. But nowadays, if we just look back at those times, we cannot understand how this was possible. So the same story goes talking about energetic and climate neutrality and all these related topics. For example, if we changed people's habit to use more electric cars or electric buses, and they will use to have a clean air, they will not look back, and the politician mission will be accomplished despite the fact that they are changing every 4 or 5 years. So it's a really important topic. And also I would like to add to innovation topic as well, that it's really important to talk to each other and to learn from each other more. And what we are doing very actively with our neighbors in Baltics. So we do have a lot of formats in EU and well, let's say local formats where we are just discussing and sharing our good practices. And after this will materializing in some kind of a practical solution. So this is really important as well. Thank you very much. I hope I was on time.
You are on time. I need to be on time, but I want to give Kalis and also Lina once again the word. Kalis.
Yes, I should give some additional continuous words to Vilnius representative. So that cooperation is very crucial between European cities, and we see that cooperating with Tallinn and Valencia in development of regulation of pilot territories is very crucial, because they are very good examples and we are learning from them. And so meanwhile we are attracting company from Tallinn which are implementing in Liepāja a new methodology for CO2 monitoring from vehicles. And we hope that this will change the whole methodology in Europe. And this solution we implemented in Liepāja in 3 months. We installed the video cameras and connected to road traffic organizations data. And now we can see in real time the CO2 emissions from transport. Since the Covenant of Mayors methodology, as you know, is from fuel station data. So this proves that in the cities we can do fast innovations to change some big topics.
Thank you very much, Carlos. I get some signs, but I have 5 minutes here on my watch. Lina, the last word goes to you. And this is, again, this learning. What is the strength of the Baltic Sea region? What is unique that drives green, clean innovation? And what can other regions learn from you guys here in the Baltic Sea region?
Okay. First of all, I believe everyone would agree the Baltic states are connected by spirit. So we have a long, long common history and also independence history, and it's extremely important. This is in our roots. So basically, if you become an enemy for Lithuania, you will have also 2 more enemies. So you need to be sure about it. And also it's go with friendship. So if you will go friends with Lithuania, they will have 2 more friends. It's like family, you know. And this is our strength, 100%. And our history is our strengths, and our views are our strengths, and our possibilities for collaboration is our strengths. We are near to each other, so the distance is like nothing. I just traveled this morning from Riga by car to be here at 9. So it's fine, you know. And this is our opportunity, and I believe this whole situation that we are now also will bring us even more closer, and we just need to use this as an opportunity for this long run. So yeah, we are together, we will be together, and just this question about how we just can strengthen, be more collaborative on the different topics as innovations and research and capacity building and city development.
Thank you so much, Lina. And I'm really struck by the fact that you can be so sharp after starting 4 o'clock in the morning to ride all the way from Riga here to Vilnius. Thank you for that. There is no takeaways that I would like to share, but I would like you to take away every word that these panelists have given to you as an offer and grab them. In the coffee break, there is the start of a mutual learning experience. So learn from the Baltic Sea region. You have the opportunity. We are here in Vilnius. We have the colleagues. Make use of them. I would like to close this session not without thanking my colleague Olga Krajewska sitting over there. She is a mastermind behind this session. Brought all speakers, pitched me, and made us fit for purpose here. I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. I want to thank Vistus, Lina, Andrius, of course.
Humbled but proud that we've achieved all this together. That you've all, with your teams, worked so hard to bring together stakeholders, to work with the Net Zero Cities experts, read out the names of every city. And the good news is that we've just got 3 or 4 colleagues who are going to sort of interact, speak a bit at the end. We're not going to have a thank you speech for every, because that would probably take us until sometime tomorrow. And so I do want, though, individually to congratulate you and to read out now the list of the cities in alphabetical order. And I apologize in advance for any errors of pronunciation that I may make. But in alphabetical, Antwerp, Athens, Bordeaux Métropole, Bristol, Budapest, Copenhagen, Cork, Dijon Métropole, Dresden, Dublin, Dunkirk, Gabrovo, Glasgow, Grenoble Alpes Métropole, Helsingborg, Helsinki, Istanbul, Košice, Krakow, Leipzig, Liberec, Łódź, Lund, Nantes Métropole, Oslo, Padova, Paris, Reykjavik, Riga, Rzeszów, Sofia, Stavanger, Turage, Trondheim, Valence, Vilnius, Warsaw, Wrocław, and also 5 cities that were previously awarded and are coming today for the ceremony: Elat, Gävle, Liepāja, Sonderberg, and Suceava. So now we can all clap. Congratulations to everyone. You see, it was much better like that, huh? So now I'm going to invite the representatives, the mayors and the representatives of all the cities to join me on the stage for a celebratory photo shoot. So please. Well done, well done. Please. Really nice to have you here. Thanks. Congratulations. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Well done. Thank you. Nice to see you. Yep. Great to see you. Good to see you. Hi. Congratulations. And still they come. Great. We need rows, I think. Well done. Well done. Congratulations. Well done. Nice to see you. See you again. Wonderful to have you here. Good to see you. Nice to see you again. Good.
Thank you so much.
And I've pronounced it right, huh?
Fantastic.
Good to see you. Hi. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. Hein? Félicitations. Merci. Well done. Great to see you. Good to see you. Nice to see you. Hello. Well done. Now I need to find. Sorry, can I just maybe come through? Can I suggest that you take your badges off? It looks more beautiful.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
I mean, you know, the guys with chains can certainly keep them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do something theatrical.
Okay. Climate neutral cities are happy cities.
Let's hope. Great. Everyone got every picture? Good. So now I'd like to ask the 4 speakers who are going to interact a bit just to stay on the stage, and for everyone else perhaps to take your places. So thank you all very much, and congratulations again.
See you in the morning.
Good.
I think I'm on in the tomorrow morning.
I think, yes. Yeah, yeah. So I need, yeah, you? Great. Yeah, exactly. We have microphones. Sorry. C'est bon? You're staying. Thank you. So,
It's a pleasure. Chiara.
Chiara, congratulations.
The guy from Athens. Oh, yeah. You're staying, yeah?
Yes, I am Nikos.
Yeah, good. Nice to meet you. Okay. There's a beautiful place also over there where you can get the best photos with the green and the...
Εντάξει.
Okay, so now I promised you a short exchange with some of the
Vasily.
mayor and representatives who are here. So very happy to have with me Erik Lauritsen, mayor of Sonderberg, Tormod Lonzendal, mayor of Stavanger, Chiara Galliani, deputy mayor of Padova, and Nikos Chrysogelos, deputy mayor of Athens.
Thanks
So
a lot.
Very happy to have you all here. I just wanted to, ask a few questions about your experiences in the climate journey. And perhaps let's start with Erik. What does achieving the mission label represent for your cities? And what do you see as the next steps?
Okay, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to receive the label. In Sonderborg, we have been on this journey for many years. 2007, we started our Project Zero. And it's a long journey. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you on the right way? Are you doing the right things? Do you have the right actions? And I think this label, to get that, it tells us, yes, we are on the track and we can continue. But I also think it's very important to hear all these other cities telling about their actions. We can learn so much from each other.
Thank you. Tormod, what for you perhaps is the sort of highlight moment, the thing that you're most proud of from the work that we've done with all your communities on reaching this point with the contract and getting the label?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of things that I'm proud of in our work with this. First of all, all the people in the municipality that has worked hard to achieve this, and also our citizens, 150,000 citizens, which are ready to play a part in reducing emissions, and also the businesses. Stavanger is a pocket-sized metropolis with a huge private sector who's really engaged in making a difference. And a Swedish colleague said it well yesterday about if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And really, we have to do both. We have to go fast and we have to go together. So this is a huge feather in the hat for us, and I'm proud of the citizens. I'm proud of the businesses, but this also commits. So when I come home with this, it will be huge expectations from both the citizens and the businesses about the way forward. So I hope these days here in Vilnius will get some directions and some signs about the way forward.
Great. Thank you very much. No, and on this point about it being a whole society project, I mean, it's so important and carrying people with us. Chiara, is there one particular innovation or project or highlight in your Climate City contract, in your climate program, that you'd particularly want to share with us today?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation of Padua to this panel, and thank you for your question. I think today we are discussing a challenge that goes far beyond energy efficiency and even beyond climate target. We are talking about the future of our cities, about the quality of the air we breathe, about the health of our citizens, the comfort of the urban spaces we live and move every day. Padua, you know, is a medieval city with about 200,000 people, reaching 500,000 with its urban area and its students. And it is crossed by rivers and canals. And the urban transport sector that is responsible for the 24% of our final energy consumption is one of the areas we have to act with the greatest determination, because the city's urban structure was not designed for cars, and in contemporary time, mobility has always been a big problem. So our aim is to redesign the use of the urban structure to move away from a model of essentiality of the private mobility. And so it is not coincidence that 6 out of the 14 strategic action of our climate city contract specifically focus on mobility. And as you asked me for a specific measure, for sure the SMART project is at the heart of this transformation. SMART, meaning Tramway Metropolitan System, outlines 2 new tram lines, 23 kilometers joining even the neighborhood towns, additional to the already existing 10 kilometers, with an investment of €500 million. And it outlines direct connection to the city's main hubs, and clearly it is conceived as an integrated system to reduce the number of private vehicles. It is estimated that thanks to this intervention, over 200 million kilometers driven by combustion engine vehicles could be avoided, will be avoided every year. And this means less traffic, less noise, less pollution, that is a big issue for Padua. And it also means more space and more time for people. And SMART, that we hope to start using already in 2026, is just the beginning, because starting with the new tram line, we want to integrate all the sustainable mobility alternatives into a single smart and accessible system, the so-called mobility as a system. So to make easier, more convenient to choose a collective transport and green mean of transport. So entering the city will become simpler for those who travel together, for those who use clean fuels, for those who embrace innovation. And it will gradually become more difficult for those who rely on individual polluting vehicles. After that, we'll have created more and more efficient means of transportation. Our direction is not immediately to impose strict limits, as we are already imposed some of them, but to open up opportunity, because we think that a city that moves better and share these goals with its citizens, it's a city that breathes better and belongs more to the people.
Great. Thank you very much. And indeed, the very powerful example of mobility and smart mobility systems, I think, a very, very widespread challenge in many of our cities. So I now turn to Nikos from Athens, and a specific focus on how you've involved citizens and local stakeholders in your work on preparing the Climate City contract.
Thanks for this great event. It is an amazing event, but mainly it is an amazing journey. And thanks that the city of Athens is on the board. This is a label and this is a project not just for the citizens of Athens, but it is with the citizens of Athens. Otherwise, if there is no ownership of this project by the citizens, then we will fail. So it is a project that will have successes, many, I hope, some failures and some mistakes. We have to correct them, and the key issue is how the people participate, the citizens participate. We established a climate forum for the preparation of this plan, and with the participation of the people, we formulated this climate contract of Athens. And now we will continue with the implementation phase and with the discussion, adaptation, improvement of this plan. And this is very crucial. We focus a lot on the participation of young people. So we have established a climate youth assembly. So the young people speak direct, talk direct for this plan. But also we use some tools for giving the sons the possibility of young people to implement actions for climate. So we finance, we give some microfinances to young people, to implement their ideas, not just to talk or to propose, but to take action and be part of this very interesting and challenging project.
Great. Well, look, thank you all very much. I promised to stick strictly to the time, so unfortunately we haven't got time for a deep discussion, but I think it's really good to have these sort of specific perspectives from Sonderberg, from Stavanger, from Padova, and from Athens, which I think are representative of the experiences that many have faced. I mean, if I could just pick up on your point, Nikos, at the end there, I mean, this is not, of course, the end of the journey. This is a very, very important milestone, and it's, I think, a great moment where we collectively celebrate the progress that you've made. But I just want to underline that we, with the Net Zero Cities platform, with the Capital Hub, with the dedicated lending facility from the European Investment Bank, we will remain strongly with you in the coming months and years as you now transform these exciting plans into reality at a pace which we hope will really make a difference very quickly for you, but also for your citizens and for the broader climate objectives that we have in the European Union. So congratulations to the 4 cities represented here, but also congratulations again to everyone who's received the label today. I'm very, very proud to have been part of this ceremony. And I hand now back over to Katarina. So thank you all very much. Thank you. Well done. How's that?
Thank you so much, Patrick, and thank you everyone for really bringing the energy to the stage here and celebrating together. And we had the impression that moment when we took the picture here with all the beautiful mission labels was a specifically strong one, which is why we also want to follow up with actually taking a picture of everyone. So, challenge number 1. Matas, we've got our photographer here who's probably going to come up on stage and do this here, and I'm just going to help you to gather everyone. The invitation to you would be to really stand up, come to the front, and I see a huge bunch of people who are taking pictures with their mission labels at the very end of the room. So the closer you are to them, if you could just reach out and let them know that this is now the moment for a group picture, and then just all come to the front, to the stage, so we can actually make this happen. Shall we try? Okay. Then now would be the moment to please just stand up and come to the front to make sure that we actually will have one group picture of as many of you as possible that you can also then obviously take home with you. All right, Mantas, what else do you need? Come closer, closer, closer. Yes, beautiful. If we have the mission, not closer there, closer like this. Okay, so the mission labels in the front, that's obviously beautiful. Wonderful people in the back who are all gathering at this photo opportunity. Yes, you can see me. Yay! Turn around and tell the next person that you see behind you, it's picture time. Everyone over there at the green moss, we're waiting for you over here.
Can you also tell the people from the sides to go on the chair, like the way these people are?
Right, yes.
There's no empty spots.
Yes. We don't want any empty seats, so everyone who's standing here in the corridor, please make your way into the seating areas, exactly, so that we actually have all you. Well done, thank you. Everyone from the front, same to you, you can actually just step into the seating area, so we don't have any gaps in between. That always looks weird. I mean, just remember your wedding pictures. Most of you have done this before. I invite on, and now I feel like the ones in the back have also heard us. Wonderful. We are waiting for you. We want your faces on this beautiful family picture. So everyone's coming in here in the corridors. Try to actually move into the seating area. Okay, how are we going? Does this look realistic? I still see people from the back. You can come to the front as far as you can, and then just step into the seating area. And we probably need more light. Don't we need more light? Yeah, we need more light. Now we can finally see you. Hello, good to see you.
People who are in the back, they can also move to the seat area.
Yes, exactly. So everyone who's coming here on this corridor and on this corridor, just move into the seating area where you can already see your colleagues to make sure that we actually have you in the center of the picture. Otherwise, it looks like a very weird formation. But this is starting to really look like a beautiful formation, like a circle, more than a wobbly. I'm not sure if the ones out there also feel like you want to belong. Yeah, you do. Hi, come on here. Look, I reserved a spot for you. You gotta hurry, otherwise it's gonna be taken. You're welcome. I mean, this is like first row, right? Awesome. When do you ever get that experience? Exactly. Well, there might be a few. And now I even have a competition. This is a hard job here right now. Afternoon slots, other people making announcements. It's not making my life any easier, but every one of you who's coming in here is actually making my life easier and is also going to make the session a bit more engaging. So, you know, you can freely choose, few more seats available. Hello, everyone back there. I know that beautiful photo opportunity is awesome. You know what's also awesome? Coming up here, joining us for this session. Just ignore that there are other seats in the back. These are definitely the pole position ones. Your colleagues have already shown you how to do this. Wonderful. I'm so happy to have you here. Also the ones over there. I'm going to address you personally. You're like, yeah, sorry, I have to work. No, but this is a conference, and we want you to engage here. The other one's like, no, I'm not even going to look at her, so she can't address me. All right. Well, I'm happy for all the ones who are here now. I hope you had some good breakout sessions. Just quick show of hands. Who was in 2 breakout sessions? Yeah, I've got the engaged crowd here. I like it. Only 1, maybe? I mean, that's, you know, good enough, you know. Sometimes you have other things that emerge in the breakout sessions, other projects to talk about. Which were the really good ones? Give me a quick shout out, the names of the really good breakout sessions. Open space? Okay. Cities progress? Okay. Sounds good. Any other? Governance and industry. Okay, cool. I feel like a lot of them were good, so I'm happy to hear that. Okay, before we start into next session, you know what I'm going to do? A little energizer. Yay! Okay, no, just a quick show of hands. Obviously, since you're here, I imagine that you are the energized ones, but just a quick show of hands. Where is your energy levels so you can indicate to me if we need an energizer or not? If you can, like, imagine yourself as the weather, then down here is this kind of, I'm dark and cold and there are patches of rain and I can just cuddle up with a blanket and a tea. This is how I feel right now. And then here is a bit more like you're a spring breeze and, you know, it's getting warm and there's a bit of sunlight and, you know, the pollen are flying around and you're sneezing. This is this type of... And then up here is like you're the summer sunshine and you're illuminating everything around you and the flowers are just bursting. Where is your energy? Here, I love that. Okay. All right, do you feel like you need an energizer? No. Yeah, no, no, yes, okay. Show me a thumbs up if you're like, okay. Okay. Right, I'll give you a very quick one, and this is one that I really like doing that you can do in your office, you can do at home, you can do right here, right now. And it's just nice to also, again, remind yourself that you've got a body. It's called Scared Bunny, Happy Bunny. Okay, and the way how we do it is you can stay seated, and you just imagine that you are a little bunny that is in his hole in the ground, and there's a fox outside. So what you do as a bunny is you close your eyes and you really tighten every muscle that you have in a body. So you tighten your fingers, you tighten your face, you tighten your legs, and this looks ridiculous when you look at me. That's fine. I'm just looking at you. So let's tighten it all together, and we do it for 5 seconds, and then we let go. Okay, so tighten every muscle you have for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you let go. And then you're this happy, relaxed bunny. There's no more fox. You don't have any reason to be scared. And you do it once more, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Tighten every muscle you have for 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, and then you let go. And it's actually really nice. You can do that whenever, and it immediately relaxes your body and just gives you a bit more energy. And with this, I'm happy to have you here, and let's start into our next session. In our next session, it is a crucial topic. We've touched upon it in the last 1.5 days already. The question with this topic is never why, the question is always how. And the title of the topic is financing the future. To guide you through this session, it is my great pleasure to welcome on stage the Climate City Capital Hub Director, Delphine Kenya, together with her speakers. Enjoy.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Please come in. We want you on stage. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to sit, but I think it's our final session, so we'll try to wake you up. And we'll have a little Q&A at the end if you want to ask any questions. Cities account for more than 70% of global CO2 emissions, and thus they play a key role in Europe's decarbonization and adaptation efforts. But the capital that fuels transformation is often stuck in outdated frameworks. The funding gap we identified in a city investment plan study BWB just published is estimated at 310 billion capital expenditure requirement. And this includes 275 billion non-municipal finance needed across the 100 mission cities by 2030. The built environment sector is forecasted to receive the biggest share of municipal funds and its largest requirement for non-municipal funds before energy, transport, and waste. Today, we have a remarkable panel with us, representing city leadership, finance specialists, public banks, private capital point of view, and philanthropy, all vital pieces of the urban climate finance puzzle. With us, Yanis Armeftis, Mayor of Limassol, Cyprus. We have Alex Wunschel, City of Bristol. Khadija Mernissi, City Finance Specialist, Climate City Capital Hub. Luis Hebrero from the European Investment Bank. Matisse Peglem, Investment Director and Cities Mission Board Member. And we have also Ilaria with us, Deora, from the Compagnia di San Paolo and Filia member, and Thomas de Boa, who is the Net Zero Cities Director. And myself, yeah, you're right. I'm myself the Climate City Capital Hub Director, and I will moderate this panel. The Capital Hub is an innovative pan-European initiative, first created as a key part of Net Zero Cities, which supports city climate actions as part of the European Mission for Climate Neutral and Smart Cities by 2030. The Capital Hub aims to scale up financing in a neutral way and bridge the investment gap for climate mitigation and adaptation projects in cities across the continent. So let's bring clarity to the funding gap and chart the path to an inclusive, investable, and scalable future. It seems that we are turning into black. So we're going to bring clarity to the panel. Thank you. I'd like to see, yeah, exactly, our panelists with us. So we are going to explore three themes together today: the challenges faced by the cities to deliver their plans, and how the financial sector reacts to it, responds to the challenges. Then we'll go through examples of best practices and innovation, which could be replicated under the N0 City network. And then the road ahead to scale the mission, impact, and make sure that future labeled cities and those who have been labeled today can benefit from the lesson earned. So let me join the panelists. I think I've got the mic here, if you want to pass on to Limassol. And I'm going to start with you, Yanis. So Limassol has committed to a climate neutrality strategy by 2030, backed by 1.3 billion in investment. Could you elaborate a little bit on the key projects you are looking at and which are aligned to this goal and the challenges you are facing?
First of all, thanks for the invitation. It's, the conference here is magnificent. There is the opportunity to speak and to meet a lot of colleagues and a lot of people in the ecosystem of this mission. Actually, what we define as a new, let's say, mayor since July 1st, actually we established a strategic plan for four main projects. And the first project is the Green Routes. Green Routes is a project that how to transform roads to pedestrian or cyclist routes through the neighbors in order to connect all the neighbors of the city to the coastline and to the center of Limassol, so that it helps to walk in our city, because actually more than 90% of our movements in Limassol is doing by car. So it's not so, we have many difficulties, so we have to increase actually people walking and cycling, and actually in these pedestrians around 20 kilometers, we plant more than 10,000 trees, and it's very ambitious project, but actually because of our climate, because it's very hot, so with the shadows of the trees, it will be all these routes more attractive. So it's the routes that they will help a lot the micromobility. That is our aim in order to have this green network covering part of the city, and helps to create the city, the 15 minutes city. I said before that we have a lack of use the buses, the transport methods, and so we have to implement the new strategies that we have with the mobility plan to establish bus lanes, and of course to implement strategies for transportation strategies. And of course, with the use of technology, actually will increase all this transformation from, and our aim in 5 years, in order from 7% using the buses, going to 25 or 30%. That is a big struggle. Actually had before 1 month ago a workshop regarding the tram. Is it sustainable for Limassol, a city that is around 300,000 people, and many cities, European cities, have established the tram, because actually the tram is not an excuse, but actually as a tool in order to create quality of public space. So in Limassol, we don't need more roads. We need public piazzas, public areas, one green. And of course, it helps a lot, especially at the promenade. It will be very attractive route. So with this project, we're aiming to put the numbers down in order to have use as much of the population, because Limassol is a linear city. There is a bit of urban sprawl. With other municipalities of the metropolitan area, the length is 33 kilometers. Our density is very low, less than 2,000 people per square kilometer. So all these things, planning and mobility, are connected. And of course, we want to create a Limassol that it will be resilience for the future, for the climate exchange. It's very important to create the Metropolitan Park. So all these things has to do with planning. And of course, to give intention, as I said before, to the public space. It's very important because you can create there and social sustainability.
Any challenge on the funding side you are facing? Because obviously a tramway, upfront costs, long-term maturity requirements.
That's why I said that we need to proceed with studies, feasibility studies. As I said, the international practice, but actually there you can, it's an opportunity for the private sector to invest because with sustainable system you need less roads, less parking places. So if we will connect the parking with the use of the tram, actually we'll get rid of the cars inside the city center. Actually, we have pavements 70 centimeters. You cannot walk. Actually, it's not a pleasure or it's not attractive to walk in our city center. So actually it promotes an upgrading of the economy and the local economy because cars don't buy. It's the people walking that they can go to support the locals and the small shops, because otherwise you need your car to go to the big supermarket outside of your town. So that's why we insist in a holistic approach that it helps and connects all the parameters. I mean, resilient city, walking, mobility, transportation, public space, green, and everything.
So in theory, lots of potential investors or funders can join you. Alex, I'm going to turn to you. So Bristol is actively pursuing a comprehensive approach to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2030 with a one city approach. You are one of the front-runner cities in taking a portfolio approach to the climate transition, mobilizing citizens and working with regional partners, investors as well. What other source of funding are you actively trying to mobilize? And would you say that only the commercial projects can attract investors, private investors in particular?
Yeah, thank you very much for kind words. I suppose our journey has been to build finance in different types of finance at different times. And I think our journey now really began with investment from the European Investment Bank. I have to acknowledge that Louis was saying earlier, we wouldn't be here without that catalytic investment from the ELENA program from the European Investment Bank, which allowed us to then build the business case for municipal and government investment in energy projects in our city. And through that, we delivered about 100 million euros of investment, which is good. But when our CCC says we need 7.8 billion, we thought, how do we scale that up? And that enabled us to create a joint venture with the private sector, the Bristol City Leap joint venture, and that's aiming to invest £1 billion €1 billion of investment over the life of that 20-year investment vehicle. And now sort of next generation is looking to work to create investment funds which can invest in non-municipal projects and in businesses, small businesses and medium-sized businesses in the city to enable them to grow the net zero economy in the city. And we hope that through the Pilot City project, which through the mission, and thank you very much to the mission and to Net Zero Cities for that support, we'll hopefully be able to have secured 100 million of private sector investment by the end of this year.
Fantastic. And the Capital Hub is trying to support you in that mission. That's fantastic. So the IB, you played a key anchor role and a catalytic role in that. Can you tell us a little more about the wide range of your offer?
Thanks, and well, thank you also very much for the appreciation of one of our more emblematic programs, which is also supported by the city's mission. Thanks for the opportunity to present also how the EIB can contribute and is contributing to the city's mission. First of all, it helps or aims at helping the municipalities in covering their funding gap. So 1/4 of the funding we had last year, around 76 billion, so 1/4 of that went directly to the cities. And how do we finance this? We were the first issuance of EU bonds, of green bonds in the market in 2007, and we are financing specific projects inside the municipalities. We do not finance the budget or the deficit of the municipalities, but specific projects which we analyze, we appraise, and ensure that they have an impact, contribute to climate, and half of our activity should be climate action. And indeed, we have gone over this target last year. What we offer to the municipalities is two basic products: investment loans for projects which really deliver, again, results and achieve climate targets, and another instrument which I can develop a little bit further, which is our framework loans, which finance investment plans. So a whole investment plan like the one that you have in the Climate City contracts can be part of a framework loan issued by the EIB. In addition to that, and to finalize, we also offer advisory services. Around 10% of our workforce, which is around 400 people in total, working on advisory within the EIB. Out of the 4,000 people we are in the bank, is working on programs like the one of Elena, or other programs such as the one or the collaboration we have with the climate neutral cities, and where we collaborate with the hub, the capital hub, where we are offering to the municipality support in preparing these investments and ensuring that they are sustainable and they can be bankable. And this is the key role in particular which me and the colleagues who are today in this conference are more involved. So back to you. Thank you.
No, thank you, Luis. So it's very important to say that there are some co-financing structures which allow long-term financing and help respond to some of the challenges we heard. Mathis, if you take a private side point of view, from a private capital perspective even, where do you see the biggest challenges for crowding in private capital?
Thank you. Well, as a mission board member, I'm extremely pleased to see that we have received 100 city contracts and quite detailed investment plans. And I think, at least for me, who's coming from the private equity side of the world, it signals that at least 100 cities are going through the kind of paradigm shift in terms of how they plan or structure their finance, because I have been meeting cities and municipalities for many years, and you know, they have been always addicted to one thing, to European grants and free money, and they are super experts on structuring the grant programs and waiting for the free money from somewhere. And now suddenly they have to, as you showed, 300 billion needs to be found, and 300 billion from that amount of money, 80% at least needs to come from private sector. You showed that it's, according to the plans, 90%. So how to attract and make those projects bankable has always been a big challenge, and I think now that leads into one of the main challenges that I see now in front of many cities, is to build capacity of their financial staff, of project staff, how to actually effectively and fast and in a good manner structure the projects so that they are attractive to private investors. Because let me remind you once again that the private sector has a lot of money, municipalities don't. And I have been running infrastructure funds for years, and there's been money for PPP projects, concessions, joint ventures, all kind of advanced instruments, but there have been no projects on the city side. So I think this is one of the key things that I urge everyone. Now, investment plans are done. Now focus on building the capacity in the cities to actually structure the projects and push them out to the market as soon as possible. And then we have another problem, and that is beyond maybe the municipal level, and we are, as a board, trying to see what we can do about that, is that irrespective of the free kind of will to achieve these targets, there are all sorts of restrictions imposed by the national governments. Borrowing limits, restrictions to issue bonds in some cases, difficulty of putting together PPP or concession projects because of a very complicated law and procedures and so on and so forth. So I think this will be one of the key items where we hope that the European Commission could issue a recommendation to the national governments actually to help the cities with implementation of their plans, because very often they simply cannot move ahead because their hands are tied.
Thank you, Mathis. So, Khadija, as a city finance specialist, a member of the hub, you are actually helping cities precisely. So what funding gaps do you see on your side to turn these investment plans into investable projects? And what are the typical issues you help cities solve to get there?
Thank you very much, Delphine, for your question, and thank you for having me on stage. I think it's important to note first that no two cities are the same. They're very different in terms of internal capacities, in terms of financial exposure, experience with private actors. So I think the first thing is the first obstacle is the question of the common language. Most transition teams are environmental specialists, so they have a very clear vision of what needs to be done. They have a very clear vision of the end goal. And when it comes to financing, then they might find it a bit challenging to navigate between the different types of financing and also to understand the language of investors. We do know that many of the climate projects don't quite fit into the typical return on investment spreadsheets, the standard return on investments from investors. So we as CFSs are here to kind of build the bridges between the cities and the private capital, private actors. And we do so by helping on project preparation, project definition, technical assistance, together with the Capital Hub and the financial and business modeling. And the other thing is that cities, and this is a big obstacle actually, more than money, is that cities have to deliver massive investments for their climate transition with barely the same amount of staff. So today we really face the problem of not only the ambition, but also who will work on these projects. So I think, I really believe that we would need to redirect massive funding to the cities for building their internal capabilities, but also for OPEX, operating expenses, because today we would have lots of finance institutions financing CAPEX, but then we also need to finance OPEX. What I mean is that if we want to plant trees in a city, that's great, and it can be financed. But if we don't have the gardeners and the maintenance staff to maintain these parks, then I'm quite sure it's not going to work. So this about the staffing is for me a big obstacle, and we as CFSs can help the finance teams, but we're not like the operational people on the ground. And last but not least, there's also, I think, a switch to be made. It's a kind of a mindset switch to be made towards start thinking in terms of trade-offs. What I mean is that when a city has a dedicated budget, let's say 1 million euros, the city can decide to dedicate this budget to a municipal swimming pool, it can dedicate it to park, it can dedicate it to cycling path, but then it can also dedicate it to structure that would come to like a private-public structure which would foster many, many projects and create a pipeline of hundreds of millions of euros of projects to be financed by the private capital. So in the end, I think where us CFSs can also help the cities is make trade-offs and literally rethink the use of the money.
Thank you. So that's a perfect transition actually to speak about public and private blending funding. So let's move on to the second part of this panel, which is, really looking at some best practices and innovation solutions that have been created. Because the cities stand at the crossroad of impact and innovation. I'm going to start with you, Alex. What example of blended finance vehicle aimed at scaling commercial and institutional investment in net zero infrastructure has the city of Bristol been promoting?
Thank you. Yeah, so we are just in the process now, as part of the pilot city project, I mentioned it earlier, is developing a net zero impact fund. We've called it the Green Growth West Fund because we're in the west of England. And that fund is seeking to invest in asset-backed projects and also in small and medium-sized enterprises that need to grow their businesses to meet the growing net zero economy that we all know exists and which we're trying to facilitate. And so that fund is being established in partnership with our regional government, and they've become the first investor in that fund. And we've appointed a fund manager, or they've appointed a fund manager, and we're currently seeking to attract the capital into that fund. And the Pilot City project enabled our financial partners to undertake the business planning, the market research, and really understand what the market need was and where there was a market failure, because there's a gap in the market and hence the need for state intervention, which is why our regional government was there able to make the case for that investment. And we hope that will not only allow us to bring forward more projects, but we'll be able to bring them forward more quickly, do them better, and make them fairer in terms of their outcomes.
And how do you keep some public influence when you bring in private partners?
So I think partly by the regional government being one of those investors alongside the private sector on the same terms, but also then, now this is where I'm reached the limit of my financial knowledge, so the non-finance person on the panel, but it's really about, I think, I've been told, my colleagues tell me, it's really about how you craft that investment policy. And if you can get that investment policy right at the start, then you can make decisions that are consistent with that, and everybody knows where they stand. So that, I think, is how we are intending to establish the right level of, set the fund off in the right direction, but then actually ensure that that fund can operate freely and without political interference.
Thank you. So we've spoken about public funding, private investors, how to crowd them in. There is a pocket that we haven't mentioned yet, which is philanthropy. So people have in mind the public grants, but there is another source of potential funding. I'd be interested to have your views, Ilaria, on where you think philanthropy can step in and act as maybe even a concessional force. And also if you could give us some examples of the sectors where, it would be most suited.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about philanthropy. I've been listening for the past 2 days with great attention, and I haven't heard this word before. So I'm not going to assume that we all know what it means. Philanthropy, how I'm going to talk about it, is meant as institutional philanthropy. So these are private funds that are channeled through independent organizations for the public good, so it's social value. And so I work for Philanthropy Europe Association. We represent the sector at European level. And the question around what is the link between philanthropy and the cities has actually been responded through a report that we published together with Compagnia di San Paolo conveniently a couple of days ago that you can download from the Filea website. So we really screened the 52 climate city contracts that are available on the Net Zero Cities website, and I was really amazed by the work that you did. So really celebrating all of this data that you provided us. And what came out of it is that out of the 52 climate city contracts, 58 foundations are already working with 22 cities in 11 member states. So you can download it and you will see that we went through all of the projects, and what comes out of it is, first of all, that there's an incredible diversity of foundations. So you will find banking origin foundations, family foundations, so on and so forth, which brings you back to the fact that no cities are alike and no foundations are alike. The second point that comes out of the report is that there are very different ways of foundations to come into the climate city contracts. They can be signatories, they can back with institutional support, they can actually provide funding, and so that leads us to the independence of the philanthropy sector. You will find also examples of thematic areas in which foundations are investing, and also maybe most importantly, the very big variety of the philanthropy toolbox. So there are grants that are project-based, core funding, all along up to the investments that can be made through impact investment. And I've been hearing a lot about bankability, bankable projects. The philanthropy sector can come in and fund things such as narrative change, governance innovation, citizen engagement, looking into the most vulnerable communities that do not kind of participate in certain processes. And last but not least, philanthropy is not only about funding. There's a wealth of experiences where cities have been receiving technical support, coaching, mentoring, etc. So just a couple of new things I wanted to add. First of all, this is a first research. It is not intended to be perfect. We wanted to throw kind of a pebble in the pond and receive your feedback. We heard that there are 39 new climate city contracts that are going to be published, and with Compagnia di San Paolo Foundation and Philae, we would like to screen them again and further the analysis to really try to bring philanthropy into the picture, because currently the philanthropy sector is missing. Why do I say so? Because actually Europe is the continent with the highest number of registered foundations. It does not mean it's the most generous, that's the USA, but it does mean that there's over 175,000 foundations that are present across the member states, and that there's a volume of giving on an annual basis of 76 billion euros. You mentioned, Delphine, that the needs, the non-municipal needs, are 277 billion. And so it is clear that the philanthropy sector cannot fill the gap. It is dwarfed by public funding, by private funding, but it is the nature of the capital that is different. It is the way that it is deployed that is completely different, because there's this social value. So my invitation here is to intentionally develop a strategy that brings in philanthropy, understanding the key characteristics of the capital, which is flexible, long-term, that is based on trust, that can bring in the social dimension and share visions. And last but not least, philanthropy is about solidarity. It is not only about funding. It's really about giving, and the culture of giving in Europe is different. So please, let's continue this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I think that opens up the space for innovation and bringing philanthropy into some structures, maybe bringing outcome bonds to have some social angle or adaptation. There would be loads to do. Khadija, you're supporting cities and helping the strategies, them to enhance their financial capabilities. Can you give examples of replicable instruments, financial instruments, crowding in private capital that you've been encountering?
Yeah, definitely. We often think about financial innovation, about bringing in entirely new processes and mechanisms, but in reality, all these tools already exist. They just exist somewhere else. What's new for one person, for one city, isn't new for another one. So what cities really need is to identify these tools, these mechanisms, to scale them and to adapt them to their own context. Today, many of the French cities that I'm supporting today or not supporting yet already have put in place some of these, what we call financial innovative tools, and are testing them currently. So in one case, a city is creating a public-private partnership structure that they're actually, it's called a SEM, Société d'économie mixte. It's a French structure which comes to make the city collaborate with the private sector, and especially here with the investment fund. And basically the city and the investment fund are co-financing pre-feasibility studies for close to 100 projects in the energy sector, and from this, they would host every viable and bankable project in a separate SPV. So what I was talking about before is this is a perfect example of a trade-off that the city has made. They're using the existing budget to fund new structure that's going to foster and that's going to create and yield many more projects that the private sector will finance. And we're accompanying them, we're supporting them on this, and we will be following each of the projects with the city to de-risk the projects. The other example that I have in mind is supporting a city on green and sustainable bonds. There's one city that came to us they were just willing to discover what a green sustainable bond is, and they are willing to take this route. And by the way, it's a fantastic tool for cities, I think, not only for financing, but also to really showcase how the city is pioneering the climate ecosystem. So yeah, we can help the cities with green sustainable bond, and we can build some capacity on this, because that takes a lot of anticipation, of work, of preparation, coordination. And we, CFSs with the Capital Hub, can definitely support with this. It takes some time, actually. It takes a long process. It takes at least 6 months to a year to put this in place. So it's not straightforward. We won't get the financing right away. But the goal also is to build capacity and not just bring financing. And by the way, on the city, we had the EIB coming with us to this meeting, and EIB is one of the biggest investors in green and sustainable bonds. So that's also great to have their insights on what investors look for. So yeah, French cities are already doing a lot of work. Every city is different. Paris and Lyon already have green and sustainable bonds. Others have already put in place the SEMs, so the Société d'économie mixte, the public-private partnerships. But what's new for one city isn't new for another one. And last is that we also as CFSs can act like connectors between cities. Basically, what a city does, we can transfer to another city, do peer learning sessions, and this is a great and fantastic way for cities to learn and build their capacity, because who else than another city can really help them to apprehend and to really understand what the work they will need to do will be.
Thank you. No, it gives us some clear idea of how it can be replicated. I guess organizing investor and local authorities forum is another example. And in the Nordics, for instance, there is a city forum which has been created to help cities speak with dedicated investors. Luis, how do financial advisory teams interact with cities? Where do you see the complementaries with the Capital Hub to help in this?
Thanks, Delphine, for the question, and there's been already quite some reference, so I'll try to go straight to the point. I mean, we have quite a tradition in the European Investment Bank, which is mainly known, obviously, for its lending character, because it's in lending terms is the largest multilateral in the world, but in terms of volume. But on the advisory side, what we have is long-term relations where we build on these lending activities. So some of our programs, like Jaspers is doing 20 years. This year, Elena program referenced, we've been 15 years working on it. And what we try to have is build these long-term relations where we can support the cities on the investment side, but also on the advisory side with with our staff. And this really leads to a lot of opportunities. We don't enter and then leave. And so we structure programs for the long term, which can help a bit in the lifetime of the investments, because one of the particular characteristics is that we try to crowd in capital, private capital, with our investments. We never finance more than 50% of the investment. Our tenor of our investments is linked to the economic life. So if there's an economic life of investment of 30 years, then you finance for 30 years tenor. And we are normally the first financier who can afterwards bring in other interested parties. And we do it with a very strong due diligence in our investments. So in all of these elements, we also now, within the context of the city's mission, we try to scale up all this activity, obviously in very close collaboration with our main partner, which is the European Commission, where we co-finance all these activities, and now also with the Capital Hub, where we are entering into these dialogues with the cities and talking with them about which are their investment plans, where do they have gaps, and then we distribute a bit the work between the different type of advisors. And from the EIB, just to finalize this explanation, we never outsource this task. I mean, we are all EIB staff, the ones who work. We work ourselves, we don't give it to anybody. The relation with the cities and the communities, particularly with our promoters, is done directly by us as a very close, trusted relation, including advisory and investment. As part of this forum, we are obviously available also for any type of further iteration with any of the participants or label cities, and we're looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thanks, Luis. So let's move to our third part, which is really the road ahead, how we can scale up precisely all these examples and go quicker, because we've got more cities labeled, more work to do. So how can we, learn from what has been done and really go much quicker? What would you say, Yanis, to those new label cities? How can they leverage the net zero city connections?
Be proactive and adapting strategic approach and mindset, I think, is a key message what we want to convey. We're referring to a dynamic ecosystem that connects various actors, including cities, investors, institutions, and it's important to identify areas and methods of collaboration. That's very important, to learn from the runners and exchange knowledge, expertise, experiences, and ideas. This philosophy underpins the establishment of Climanet, a collaborative platform agency that launched by Greek and Limassol, Greek cities and Limassol, that are participating in EU mission that aims to enhance national practices, collaboration, share knowledge, find the best practices, secure funding, that is very important, and in order to accelerate efforts towards for the climate neutrality. We believe that fostering in regional connection and made possible that actually the net zero cities can increase their visibility, influence, and access to EU instruments. And we know very hard from Limassol experience that this journey to climate neutrality is hard. It's hard and long. But joining forces, all the cities, actually we can achieve more and foster and more efficiency.
Thank you. That's a very powerful message. Thank you. And Alex, Bristol has shown that regional action provides scaling impact to raise diversified funds, for instance. How can the net zero city networks support scaling multi-city approach precisely?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so we're using our regional support to kind of grow what we're doing locally, but I think the net zero family is and the mission family is really important for us to learn both from our support from our city advisors, and a shout out to Alvar Jenner somewhere. Fantastic support in helping to develop and to be a critical friend and to question and challenge and point us to other examples of good practice from within the network. And then also events like today, we've been talking with colleagues in Gothenburg, in Lund, in Dijon and others about what they're doing, just one-to-one to understand how we can learn from what they're doing, maybe do what they're doing, maybe decide not to do what they're doing and do something different. But that really accelerates that process. We don't all have time to reinvent the wheel.
Luis, you spoke about you spoke a little bit about scaling efforts and how you are organized for that with your advisory arm. In terms of focus, do you expect more focus on adaptation and housing going forward?
Sorry. Indeed, these are, well, two areas which we even highlighted as a key priority. We had a new president at the European Investment Bank last year. She went around all the cities all the countries in Europe. The first priority that came up, one was investment in housing due to the difficulties. So we expect also to work under the city's mission, where we have a lending envelope of 2 billion, where we have already allocated approximately around 1,670,000,000 already signed, and the rest which will be hopefully signed rather soon. And it is to support housing, social, sustainable housing. And this, within the component of energy efficiency, which is linked to residential buildings, is an area where we expect to work very strongly, and we've already got quite some assignments and some operations there. The second point on adaptation is very important. We have, as all the institutions, EU institutions, very important targets. One of them is climate financing up to 1 trillion by 2030. Fine, we'll see where we get there. But on adaptation, we have a target of reaching 15% of our climate action investments. The problem is that we are increasing our climate action investments, so we need to increase also our investment in adaptation, and this is the difficulty about it. But its particularity, there were a lot of sessions today about it, is an area where we are very sensitive, we are doing a lot of work, and it's particularly difficult to finance. We have internal targets, and we have a lot of focus on this, and we hope to indeed increase it for the future. So these are two areas where we expect to certainly develop, and also in the context of the climate cities mission, also be able to support these areas of activity.
Thank you. So we've heard for the road ahead, it's hard. We've heard from the cities, it takes time to turn investment into investable projects. It takes some cultural kind of work as well, making sure that there is a lot of exchange. So Khadija, how are you going to measure success going forward? Is it going to be the amount of money moved? Is it going to be the number of cities turning to you? How are you going to measure success?
That's quite a tricky and very philosophical question. It would be tempting, actually, to measure success with quantifiable indicators, amount of money moved, number of projects financed, etc. But then, in my view, these are not the kind of indicators we should track first. For sure, they will be tracked, they will be measured. But for me, the kind of transformation that we're aiming for is not immediate, it's not linear. And cities are under a lot of pressure for this climate transition, usually with the same amount of people. So I'm being very lucid about this. Impact will take time. It will take some time and capacity building. And then for me, the success that I would look for would be if cities that I'm supporting take a first step, even a small step, towards a new type of financing, a new tool, a new mechanism that they've never used before, and that they do it with a confident path. So for me, if cities come to see me not with problems to solve, but solutions to co-create, then I think for me it's a big success. So yeah, we as CFSs, if we manage to build trust, to create the momentum, and to make cities come to us with confidence, to de-risk their projects and move forward. We know it takes time, it will take time. Nothing comes easily, especially not climate transition. But if they do come with us, to us with solutions to co-create and confidence, then I see it as a success. And just lastly, for sure, that we will need to track as well KPIs, indicators, quantifiable indicators. But the kind of, the project we're aiming for definitely will need us to build first the ground, a solid foundation for a sustainable change, and then the magic will happen.
Perfect, thank you. Mathis, how do you see with the mission board hat, how do you see the Net Zero Cities mission evolve from there on?
Well, the plans and strategies are only good if they can be implemented. And let's keep in mind that all these plans are designed to be done by 2030, which is in 5 years. So 3 things from that, I think. First one, sometimes I have a feeling that many cities expect a lot of work to be done on this end by Net Zero Cities, by Capital Hub. But let's imagine there are 300 billion with probably 1,000 projects, and it's impossible that everything will be done here. So the capacity here has to be boosted as well, because there will be more and more projects coming online. But the cities also have to do their homework and boost their capacity to start transforming the investment areas where they have assigned the money to into real projects. And we have seen in many contracts that that part is still very weak or missing in many cities, that just indication of where the money will be going, not specific projects. So a lot of projects have to be quickly developed and designed. And third thing, please don't forget about one important area. I see from the investment plans that there is quite substantial investments to be made by citizens, which is not in our power somehow to do it for them. So start working with them, encourage them, because 5 years and they have to do energy efficiency, change the cars, change the habits. It's a massive kind of area where you need to do an educational, motivational and supporting work. So good luck with that from my...
Tom, we saved you for the end, actually. Can I ask you to wrap up and give us your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just taking some notes while folks were speaking, and just to pick up on Matisse's last point, I think if we take seriously the scale and scope of this work and what's in front of us, you know, it doesn't take a lot to recognize this is a very different world than the world we've all been in, working in this space. And the one piece I'd add that maybe we need to bring into this conversation around finance more with the cities is the role the policy is going to play in building scale, accelerating deployment, de-risking private capital, et cetera. And we have to recognize that that's one of the most powerful tools, in addition to all the financial expertise and the financial know-how and capacity that has to be there, because scale, policy, and capital interact with each other. And if we don't think about it that way and we just think about it as a capital problem, we're going to fall short, for sure. I think one other thing I'd say very briefly, which is, you know, trying to deal with a comprehensive approach is quite difficult, and it literally takes a village, as we can see up here. But we have to do all of those things if we're going to be successful. And I think one of the things we can take some comfort from in the approach of the mission is that there's a massive investment in that capacity building and the mobilization of different kinds of expertise to support this work. But we have to put it to work. the last thing I'll say very quickly, because we're going to get the hook, is you talked about the gap, and I think we have to address that gap from both sides, from the sides of the cities and where they're at today, and from the side of capital and where it sits. And in my experience, if you're looking at, I'll just pick Leuven as one example. It's a small city, but they have a pretty mature understanding of what they need to do, and it's about €1 billion, right? And I would say roughly, to Matisse's point, that capital can be found for the activities that they want to do, but they need roughly 2 to 5% of that total capital at the front end of the process, because otherwise we can't fill that gap, right? And so when we think about that kind of resource, that's 20 to 50 million euros, right? That Leuven, a very small city, needs at this point in time. Now, those resources are out there. They're just not organized to do this work, and that's one of the things we need to solve for. And I think if we can do that, we can start to see that the feasibility studies, the business cases, that getting to bankability will accelerate. We'll start to see the capacity to develop new business models that can take us farther faster. And we'll start to see capital structures at a local or national, even subnational levels that will allow us to blend capital more effectively in each context. So I think those will be things we have to be quite mindful of.
Thank you very much, and thank you to our wonderful panelists. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Delphine. Thank you so much to our speakers for taking us one step further into the future of financing our climate projects. And I'm going to invite you to take one step further into the future of tonight as we're closing the conference day 2. We're now moving into the relaxed evening part, because tonight you're all invited to dinner by the city of Vilnius in one of the city's most prestigious venues. It's the Palace of the Grand Dukes of Lithuania. That used to be the political, diplomatic, and cultural center of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. So the way how this works is that we now have the buses that will be leaving outside and take you back to the city center, to most of your hotels. You can then walk from the hotels to that palace. Google Maps is your best friend. You're all gonna find your way. The door opens at 6:30 and the dinner officially starts at 7. You need your conference badges to get in, just in case you don't have it anymore, you lost it, whatever. Just approach the team and they can give you a new badge. And most importantly, please make sure that you dress up nicely and with layers, and specifically thick layers and jackets, because most of the dinner is actually going to be outside. Yes, and with that, if you need something more to do for those 2 hours until we have the dinner, I also want to draw your attention to the City's Mission Times. You can grab one of these on your way out for your jackets. The team has really put a lot of effort into making this magazine for all of you as well. And with this, I would say have a wonderful evening, enjoy the dinner, and we see each other tomorrow fresh and new at 9 o'clock for the third day of the conference. Goodbye.